snapper today. Got these beautiful eating size fish. Just out of home, jigging up a few pilchards on the bait jigs. We managed to put half a dozen of these beauties in the esky. Now I want to show you how to fillet them. They're not too tricky, the snapper. You'll notice that they're still whole. Their swim bladders are blown up because we got these out of about 25 metres, and that'll make it nice and easy to run the knife around the rib cage. Anyway, we'll get stuck into it. First up, we're going to give them a good hose, get any slime off them. As always, run your hand head to tail, make sure you don't get any spines in you. We've had these in the esky for a while on the ice, so they're set nice and hard. You see the gills are out. We always bleed our fish, keep the eating quality to the best. Alright, now let's get stuck into it. Now I've left the scales on these because I'm going to skin these, bone these and skin these, so it makes it easier if you leave the scales on. So what we'll do is make a little incision next to the dorsal fin, somewhere in here. If I can, there we are. I don't want to cut that too badly, and just run it down. Start anywhere along that dorsal fin. Run it down to the tail. The left-handed filleting, not easy. Alright, you get up to this big knob up here. You're rock solid, your knife's not going to go through that. Alright, just run it nice and parallel down close to the spine so we don't waste any fish. Get down to the tail, just push the knife through, take that little tail bit off. Now we're just going to cut him along here. Where you find when you run your knife close to the fins that the scales aren't so bad as they are in the middle of the fish, apart from the fact you want to get all the meat. So we'll take this up closer to the gut cavity, not go in it. Now, so now we can make a cut up behind the head here, not too deep. We just want to stay outside that gut cavity, and we should be able to just about flick this up like that. And see our fillet's coming away now. So you'll notice that we've got all the meats on the fillet and there's no meat left here on the bones. Now here you've got to cut them through a line of pin bones, but we've got these ribs that are holding the gut cavity intact, so we're going to try and go over the outside of the ribs. There's not much meat on that section. There we are, through the pin bones. And here we can leave this because there really isn't any meat on it. So that's what we've got left, our rib bones. And here we have a beautiful fillet, and the only bones we have are those pin bones that we cut through, which you can feel along here. So to get rid of them, I'll simply cut along that line, use your knife to just feel it, and then gently on the other side run it down to the skin. The pin bones only run to about here on the fillet. You'll feel where they end. That's it. We'll just cut it through like so. Now we're ready to skin our fillet. So we just hold it down with your finger like that, not too hard. Don't go right really close to the skin, because you'll see when I lift this fillet up, it's got quite a strong bloodline on it. And if you try to leave most of that bloodline on the skin, you'll get a much better tasting snapper fillet. So here we are, just getting through the last of it. And we've got our pin bones here, nearly there. Right, so this is the pin bones. No good, there's a little bit of meat on it, but it's no point trying to eat it with lots of bones. And here we have a beautiful boneless, skinless snapper fillet, ready for some beer batter or any other way you want to cook it. We'll just whack this in the cryovac bag. Let's put this aside. I'll quickly whip the fillet off the other side. Knife in, so here you can see the dorsal fin. It's like a little groove where the dorsal fin goes. So just gently run your knife in like that. That way you'll get a nice start on the fish fillet. Keep it parallel. Use a nice sharp knife. I'll use it like a strong knife, not a thin little filleting knife. I don't know what people use those filleting knives for, not for decent fish like this. I prefer a nice one like this. This is an Arco steel. These are just supermarket knives, about 25 bucks. Easy to keep sharp. When they've done their day, you're not out of pocket 100 bucks. Through there, back, take the tail off again, and we'll work again along those fins. Get up towards the gut cavity. So you can see here's the vent, or the anus of the fish. So we don't want to go past that because we'll be into the gut. If you stand your fish up like that, so I'll show you what it looks like. That's where you're going to start coming down on these pin bones. So in we go. The pin bones are a lot thinner than the rib bones, so you'll hear them just a little crunch as you go through them. But we don't want to go through the ribs. The ribs is going to protect that fillet. So take it a bit easier at this stage so that you don't go through the ribs. Here we are. We've gone through a couple of them. Once again, just cut through like so. There we have a snapper frame, very little meat, and there's the guts intact in it. This is going to be turned into some magnificent mud crabs. We're going to go and whack the mud crabs out later this afternoon. You can check out my mud crabbing video if you want to see how to do it without a boat. Anyway, these fresh snapper frames like that are awesome for that, so nothing will go to waste. Now we're just going to take these. So I've got left a couple of ribs in here, which I normally would try not to. So we're just in like that underneath them. Out they come. So all we're left with again is that row of pin bones down here. So we feel with the knife where they are, cutting towards them. Cut along. A lot of this is by feel. Find them with your fingers and then run either side of them. Now we'll do the same, we'll just knock the skin off it. The wood is great for this, the wooden cleaning table, because the fillet doesn't want to slide around like it does on stainless steel. There we are, just about there. So now we've got our section of pin bones here. Slob them out. And that's it. Another skinless, boneless fillet. I've got a little bit closer to the skin there. You could trim that off a little bit later before you cook it. Anyway, magnificent snapper fillets.